Okay. We are very much aware that our existing website is hard to use. The information is always there, almost always there, but it's hard to find. We plan to improve that. We plan to deploy new versions of the back-end software, which will make the life of our staff easier when performing updates. We plan to make the navigation better and improve the linking between one page and another page. We also plan this year to get a large part of our website translated into French. Many years ago, we tried to do that, but over the years, the French version has fallen behind. We want to fix that this year. We also have committed to updating some of our important documents, like the policy development process and the registration service agreement, to publish those in other languages. And for those, we're targeting French, English, and Arabic. We already have the RSA translated. It's on the website. Might be hard to find, as I might have mentioned before, but it's there. Okay. Capacity building is very important to us. If you were sitting in this room this morning, you would have heard a presentation from Mukom about that. This map shows the 22 countries in Africa that we are going to this year in 2017. But since we started in 2006, we've trained more than 3,000 engineers in IPv6. We've signed 4 agreements with partners to help us deliver the IPv6 certification platform, Certi6. We're improving our fellowship program. That's a new thing. At this meeting, we have 11 fellows. More than half of them are women, 6 women and 5 men. Their expenses are paid by Afrinic for them to come to this meeting. And okay, thank you. Our research and innovation team is very small. It's just 1 person who's recently got an assistant, so let's say 2 people now. A little earlier this morning, we signed an MOU with Research ICT Africa. We're interested in measurements. We have a relationship with the RIPE NCC, where we assist them in distributing the RIPE Atlas probes. The map shows parts of the world which are covered by RIPE Atlas probes. Every little dot there, the green dot is a probe which is up. The yellow dot is a probe which is maybe not up. These probes sit there 24/7 running internet measurements. They do pings, they do trace routes, they do DNS lookups, various other things. They report the results back to their headquarters at the RIPE NCC, and the results are available for researchers and interested people anywhere in the world. So as well as distributing the probes, Afrinic also assists in placing anchors, which are like servers that the probes talk to deliver their updates. On the external relations side, we have 2 major projects. The FIRE Africa Grants Program, the Fund for Internet Research and Education. We receive more than $250,000 in donor funding. It's not our own money, it comes from donors, but we identify worthy projects and we distribute it. And we're supporting 13 projects this year. Some of those projects have gone on to win prizes from other organizations. So I'm very proud of that. We seem to have made the right choices in which projects to support. The Government Working Group is a forum where Afrinic can talk to government representatives, lawmakers, regulators, law enforcement. And at this meeting a few days ago in this venue, we had a very successful government working group session with representatives from 25 governments. So I'm very glad that's going well. That also stagnated for a few years, but we're stepping it up. Okay, asante sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. We'll now take the report from the Audit Committee. Mr. Alston.
Hi all. Firstly, thanks everybody for being here. This is a very quick presentation just to run through the financials. So let's get right into it. Firstly, our audit committee members for the audit committee, they are Abibu, myself as the chair of the committee, Hytham, who is there in an observer capacity from the chair of FinCo. Just as a note for the community, the chair of audit sits as an observer to the finance committee, and the chair of the finance committee sits as an observer to audit. And then there's, of course, Sean as well, who also a member of the audit committee. Now, the report, we are highlighting key aspects, and anything in this report is derived from the financial statements, which have been audited, have been approved, and the signed versions are available online. So our financial position as of the 31st of the 12th, 2016, on page 19 in the audited financial statements, our cash and cash equivalent position was just over $3 million, which is an increase of $1 million from the 2015 financial year. On note 7 on page 22, it breaks down what that 3 million position is actually derived from. So there was $839,000 that was advanced fee receipts. Now this is people who paid early, and the money is only available when the invoices become due on the 1st of January 2017. So if they pay that money in late November, you can't spend it because it's not actually your money until the 1st of January. Then there was 184,000 odd that is ring-fenced for the fire project that has to be used as part of the fire project. There is $4,000 odd that belongs to AFTLD. That's their money. We are just holding it. It's not available for Afrinic to spend. Then there was $2 million of Afrinic's own money that was available for general operations. As of the 31st of December, there was an amount of 550-odd thousand in our reserve fund. Now, some of you will recall that we created a reserve fund to put money that is completely ring-fenced so that in the event of us really needing a reserve, it's there. That fund has now grown as of this point to the 550,000 you see. Then on the income and expenditure breakdown, we received about $170,000 in grants and sponsorship and other income that basically wasn't related to fees. You can find that on note 11 on page 24 of the AFS. The total fee income for the year rose 12% to $4.4 million. That does include the penalty payments, because I know that there have been questions about this on the list. The reason that we haven't put this in this presentation is purely because it's not in the audited financial statements, and this is specifically created from those financial statements. But just for transparency's sake, that amounted to $165,000 in penalty fees. Of that 4.4 million, you'll see that there was about 3.9 odd million on recurring and 480,000 on non-recurring. Those penalty fees are in that recurring section. Now, the good thing here is that even if you take out those penalty fees, you'll notice on the next point on the slide that the combined administrative and distribution expenses were 3.6 million, which means that Afrinic is now in a position that our recurring fees are at the point where they are covering our recurring expenses as of this year. We recorded a loss of about 49,000 on finance costs. This is primarily due to Forex movements. It is expected, and in the grand scheme of things is actually pretty low. But all in all, we recorded a surplus of $929,710 for the 2016 financial year. This is a graph that just shows we committed that we would show a 5-year rolling graph of what the finances looked like. And you can see there that it's been a fairly large turnaround over the last couple of years, and Afrinic is looking pretty financially healthy at the moment. It seems it doesn't want me to get off that slide. Talking about some more details on the expenses, our bad debt rose by about 50.2% to $39,000. Now, there were questions about this as well that were posed. That is primarily due to companies going insolvent, and you can't get money out of a company that's disappeared. In reality, that's less than 1% of revenue, and I don't think it's bad. The travel costs decreased by about 11.4% to $414,000. Our meeting expenses increased by about 1.5%. The staff and related costs decreased by about 1%. The office expenses decreased by about 0.3%, so it's a pretty minor decrease there. And the depreciation, which is a non-cash expense, decreased by about 1.6%. Then just to show you the travel over the last 5 years, you'll see that we've worked quite hard on reducing the travel expense, and that has dropped from 2012, where it peaked at about $674,000 in the last 5 years, down to $414,000. That could possibly in the next few years go up, dependent on what we do, but we'll see. The office expenses, you'll see that over the course of the last 5 years, those have also dropped by about $30,000, and my thanks to the staff and to the CEO. You know, all of this cost cutting that you're seeing in this report, as much as the board goes out there and pushes for this, it is down to the staff and the CEO who really have to implement this and actually make it happen. So my thanks from the board to the staff and the CEO for their financial prudence. And then finally, considering that the auditors did a really good job in the position of from the perspective of the Audit Co., the Audit Co. has recommended to the board, and the board has allowed me to tell you that the board is now recommending that we reappoint PricewaterhouseCoopers for the 2017 financial year. And with that, Asante Sana.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew. The board recommends to members the appointment of PwC to continue as auditors. All in favor, say approved.
Hold up your badge so we can see you're a member. What's a member?
You want me to do it? Okay. All right. All in favor, raise up your badges. Thank you. Those against, please raise up your badges. If you really are against, you can walk up to me and show me the badge. It's still okay. See none, a round of applause that we have appointed PwC as our auditors. Thank you very much, Mr. Alston, for that report. I'd like to invite the chair of the Finance Committee, who is also my vice chair, to give us the update.
Thank you, Chair. Give me a second.
Item, press F1.
Don't know which one.
There's one to move forward and then backwards.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thank you. So I'm Haysam Nakhal. I'm a chairman of Finance Committee. I will give you a quick review how we prepared the budget for 2017. First, Finance Committee members are Mr. Christian Bob, Mr. Christian Bob, Mr. Alan Barrett, and myself. Our agenda for today, we will go to cover budget determinants, financial resources, which is expected income, capital expenses, CAPEX, and operational expenses. First, we have some budget determinants. We are using the actual of 2016 income and operation expenses to prepare our 2017 budget with a little margin plus or minus. We do that to ensure operational viability while controlling costs, to promote the execute of strategic plan while in the same time keep a cautious on the uncertainty associated with the depletion of IB version 4 addresses. The budget is based on activity aligned with the strategic plan, and we kept the exchange rate at $1 equal 35 Mauritian rupee. First, the expected income, which is the financial resources for 2017. We expect total income of 4,930,000. It consists of two main items, other income and fees income. Other incomes is sponsorships that we have during the year, and a small interest from the bank for our surplus the last 2 years, that we had last 2 years, and the fees income, which still consists about 90% of our total income. Fees income consists of 3 items, renewal membership fees and new memberships, which we are, here it is, membership renewal fees, which consist 92% of the total income, and new members, which we are expect this year. We have a moderate increase in new member. We expect 130. Last year, actual number of new members was 165 because of, as you know, because of depletion of IB version 4, while we expect more new resource allocation due to the announcement of phase 1 of soft landing policy. Capital expenses this year is more high than the last year because IT and engineering department decided to have new servers for new project, DNS project, 6 lab project, and monitors for NOC. Also, they will get new servers for R&D, and they will replace all old laptops, which are about 16 or 18 laptops, and buy a new one. The bulk will be for IT engineering. It's about 65% of the CAPEX. 25 will go for HR and administration to renew the furniture of the company and get some more staff in the company. The rest will be for capacity building, member services, and finance and accounting. Yes, here it is. And we notice that the CAPEX budget for 2017 is about 3 times more than 2016. Operation expenses this year will be total for 4,637,000. HR expenses about 50%, 50.5% of the total operation expenses, and it's actually under the ceiling of HR expenses that was bought by board for in the strategic plan. It's 52%. Last year it was 54% of the total OPEX. This year we will see some, as CEO elaborate Ariel, that there are about 12 outreach plan to be done this year, so that we increase the budget for outreach. Also, there are many PR activities that will be done, and more of documents need to be translated, so we increase the marketing and the comms budget. Travel cost still the same as last year. We increase the supporting fund for regional related organization under community support. We, as you know, AfriNIC becomes a treasury this year for NRO, so we increased the budget for that by 74.7%. We're introducing a new line in the OPEX called in contingency budget. This budget will be released only when the income increases than the expected OPEX budget and with the approval of the board. So the expected surplus for 2017 will be about $166 US. Asante. Shukran.
Thank you. Next, we take the 2017 budget execution, and I'll call on the Director of Finance, Patrice.